Well, hello and welcome people to the internet, back to some more Noobs Are Coming. We're jumping back in. We're going to play with the Adept today, try and go for a bit of a range build and almost kind of have a no movement challenge. We're going to have to move, obviously, because the ritual circle that we start with is not going to start right underneath us. So I'm just going to try and move as little as possible. Obviously, I need to collect souls and all that. So yeah, we're not going to do a hardcore no movement challenge, but it's going to be a kind of soft no movement challenge. So let's go ahead and jump in, go ahead and grab a drink, grab a snack, sit back and relax, and let's jump into it. So Adept, we're going to start with initially I was going to start with the wand. However, Wizard, I don't know, is actually going to help us out all that much. So range just increases the range damage of weapons. Wizard gives us more heals on potions. Now, this does have a better damage scaling. However, if we grab the gun tag has a couple different things to it. One of which is it increases the range of the weapons, which I think will help us out. Because obviously we can get damage on enemies while they're further out. And then the other is it damage? I don't think it's damage. We'll have to see what the other one is. I kind of forgot what it is. But while we're in here, obviously our cooldown is reduced by half. So even though this has a 0.3 second cooldown, you know, half that is 0.15. So it's going to shoot very fast. So we're going to have a bunch of machine guns here is kind of the idea here. Dexterity damage is fine. I was going to say great. Right now we only scale half of that, right? So if we take a look at this range, 25% extra damage with range attacks. If we get 3 gun, we have range and cooldown. That's the other one. Let's see. So what do we want here? So we can go with the shotgun, which has a shorter range, but it has some piercing. So let's go ahead and take that. And that's pretty much it. We also lost all of our knockback, so that's something to keep in mind. We do have a little bit of we didn't lose all of it. Excuse me. We lose 3 knockback. Let's take a look right here. So minus cooldown, plus dodge, plus lifesteal, and we lose 3 knockback. So we still have a little bit of knockback here. But that's all we're going to do here. Let's go to the next wave, and let's go ahead and find our ritual circle. There we go. We're going to hang out right down here. We're going to spend most of our time in our circle here. Our nice little safe little circle. Nothing can harm us while we're inside the circle. Nothing can damage us. It's our own little safe haven. And we're just going to enjoy our time here, killing the noobs. All right, let's go ahead and collect our souls up. What else we got here? Your melee. Your HP regen, don't care. Damage and dexterity damage, we'll take that. We'll re-roll. Another repeater, we'll lock that in. This is range, but I do need 6 guns to get max gun potential. That being said, well, so one thing that I've noticed, I do wish that hovering, I don't think there's anything I can hover over. I want to be able to see what these terms are. Just hovering over this rather than having to wait until I buy it. So that would be a nice thing to include. So let's go to the next wave. I'm hoping the ritual starts going closer to, maybe not right now because we don't have a lot of weapons, but once we get maybe 3, maybe 4 weapons, hopefully the circle will start going into the center of the screen more. Because right now we only have this like 90-degree arc that enemies can come to us from, so we're basically losing this whole 270 degrees of action where we can't really get souls from. So hopefully that kind of opens up here in the future. Let's go for soul harvest here. I found that luck is pretty, actually, do I need luck? Let's see. So we're gonna take the repeater. We don't need the strength damage, nothing scaling off of strength. Knockback might be okay depending on what we get in the future. I'm actually gonna hold off on that for now. Don't need size. We'll take the price reduction, and that's pretty much it. We'll hold off. There we go. We're starting to get out there. It's coming away from the edge just ever so slightly. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to worry. Oh, gotta worry about the mages. Gotta worry about the mages. So we'll get a little bit of health there. We do have some lifesteal. We do have a little bit of lifesteal. But I wonder if I think size is actually a modifier that I can change on my circle, though. Don't care about this. We'll sell this. Let's go for dex damage. Although crit chance might have been nice to grab. Duration, XP gain. I'm actually going to go for XP gain, I think. damage and cooldown. That's totally fine. We'll take that. And then we have this other pistol. We'll lock that in. Probably should have taken that, but that's fine. Right, because if we go over here, it says create a circle on the ground. Size is 100%. So I'm going to probably find something that has size and see if that is something that we can modify. I do assume that it is, but you know what happens when you assume. Typically, you make an ass out of yourself. Yeah, see, having some knockback for, like, those knights is, I think, going to be fairly important once we get into the later game. We have a lot more enemies. Oh, man, I just saw there was a chest over there. Okay, I think this is a good time to take the size. And I'm also going to take cooldown here as well. Okay, so we'll grab the gun. We could just take the shuriken. I think I'm just going to take the shuriken just for now. I will probably end up... Ooh, attack slot. Nice. And then we don't really care about speed, so I'm going to lock in the cup for extra lifesteal. Oh, let's check this now. Okay, so yeah, that does scale off of size. I figured, but, you know, best to check. Okay, keeping my eye out for knights that are charging at us and mages that are shooting at us. One thing I'm going to do, I'm going to turn down the sound effects down here. Okay, we got another chest. Gotta grab that before we finish the round. Okay, start collecting. Cooldown, we will take that. Don't care about this, we can sell that. Let's go for... I think we're just gonna go for more XP, or no? Let's go. Maybe that was wrong. Maybe that was wrong. Don't want any of this. Do have another shuriken. Let's just take it for now. Then we're gonna hold off. So we're struggling to find guns so that we can level up our weapons. Struggling a little bit. That being said, we're doing quite well at holding off our enemies. The noobs... Oh, I also have to keep in mind that I only have 10 health. I'm just coming off the last game that I recorded with the summoner, and I had way more health in that build, so I'm still kind of in that mode where I'm like, oh yeah, you know, taking a couple hits here and there, that's not that bad. And it's like, no, a couple hits will kill you. A couple hits will definitely kill you if you're not careful. Ooh, 3 dex damage? 11% damage or extra range. Oh, no. I'm going to grab the max HP here for sure. Man, we're getting a ton of shurikens. Maybe we just have to... Maybe we don't need gun all the way up. Because what else are we getting? 10 range minus 2. Yeah, let's go ahead and... Actually, let's just buy this for now, just so we have full damage. Shotgun we'll take, and we'll upgrade that. Take a bit of extra pickup range. Huh, do I want dodge? And nothing here scales with a mount, right? No, shuriken does. That is the only thing that scales with a mount, though. Okay, it's only 18. Pick it up. Get extra heals from the potions. Lose a little bit more size, but we also lose cooldown. That's fine. Dex damage. Great. Soul Harvest. We lose some HP. That's okay. Actually, for only 3%, probably shouldn't have gone with that, now that I'm thinking of it. I always do that, where I make a decision, and then right after that, I have, like, it's like all my brain power, all my inspiration happens to be the millisecond after I click something. Y'all ever get that? Where you think you've thought through, like, is it good or not? And then as soon as you click, like, the purchase option, it's like, oh, wait, yep, something just popped into my head and why I maybe should have held off. I should have thought for an extra, you know, a quarter of a millisecond, and then we would have been good. So I think that so far, knock on wood, find a desk, don't just go down to your pants, Jesus Christ. Max HP, yep, we'll take that. So far I think that this is like easily the best build we've had, and I'm not even doing anything all too special. Extra chests, cooldown, reroll. Sure, I'll take the dodge. Yeah, we're not even really doing anything special. I think just like, potentially this ring is, I mean, to be fair, okay, let's be fair, let's be honest here. We're still on the first difficulty. There's only one difficulty available in the game, so at this point we're just kind of trying out all the different characters. The ring might be too powerful. It might need a nerf. I don't know, we'll see. It's one of those things where, you know, we're on the easiest difficulty. Potentially, if like enemies start getting a lot more health, and then it's going to be harder to take them down, we're going to know something completely different. Well, the thing about it, right, is that a lot of these rings, I'm not sure how exactly they're coded. So I do know that or at least I think, that the dev is kind of keeping an eye out on these videos. I know that I mentioned it in the first video that I talked to him a little bit. And they were very open to feedback. So if you are watching, one thing I've noticed with the rings so far, and again, we have a very small sample size here. Ooh, +1 attack. Oh, it's a different attack slot. Nice. And we'll take XP gain. Is that they're spawning very often on the corners, and I think what that's doing, I think that is making it so that it's giving the illusion that the build is potentially better than it is. Oh, we do have a wand here. Let's go ahead and merge these and grab a wand. I have 15 kills with this attack plus, ooh. Okay, probably should have bought this. Let's go ahead and lock that in. So because we're on the wall, it's removing, like, this is removing it's not quite 180 degrees, right? Because enemies can spawn here, enemies can spawn down here. So it's probably more like a 120 degree angle that enemies can't spawn from. And so it's giving this kind of like turtle effect where we only really have to worry about enemies in one area. And so if we have any kind of like piercing effect, we just have more luck in hitting number of enemies. So I'm not sure how this ring is coded, but I would maybe take a look at pushing it more towards the center of the field to make it, that might be something that makes it a little bit not as good. Not that you want things to be bad, but just because it's one of those things we talked about, or I talked about this, I think it was way back. I mean, it was like a month ago, when I was playing Path of Exile. And because one of the things that came up with Path of Exile when I was playing back in December was talking about arcane damage. You know what? If we're going to go into, it's also size. I'm actually going to take that. Because we're starting to have wands. I'm going to take dodge. I'm going to take luck. I'm going to take luck over dex damage. So we'll buy this. Crit chance dex damage. We'll take that. We'll take cooldown. Don't need the whip. We'll take the pistol. And for the pistol, I think we're gonna combine this. We'll buy this. Don't care about that. We'll take this. We'll re-roll. Nice, we got a purple repeater, so we're going to merge these. We're gonna buy this. Yep, great. So what happened in Path of Exile was, I actually forgot what initially it was, but there was a lot of talk about, was it about nerfs or was it about buffs? Anyway, the point of the matter was we were talking about changing. There was a lot of talk about changing numbers in the game. Oh, you know what it was? It was reroll. It was respecking costs. So they ended up. I haven't really kept up with it over the past couple months here, but basically what happened is when the early access initially came out, cost to respec your skill tree was very expensive, and it actually, I think it scaled exponentially with level. So once you got up to a high level, it was really expensive to respec. And the problem was there was kind of this, there was one argument in that it's early access, you know, the basically all progress is going to be wiped before the full game gets released anyway, so why not just make respecking free? There's no real downside to it. It's not like this is a live, quote-unquote live server or anything like that. The thing about it was, though, that... Let's see. Ooh, this has bounces, too. Okay, I think we can get rid of these. Let's go for the crossbow. Don't care about any of this. Grab more cooldown, more this. Shotgun, great. Mini damage, okay. Arcane damage, more XP too. Dodge is fine. On cooldown, okay. So the main issue was that they had, you know, GGG had launched early access with this certain cost to it. And so for the people who had already played in the stage, it was already kind of standard in your brain that, like, this is how much respecking costs initially. Basically what the concern was, ultimately, in a nutshell, was that if you reduce the cost to 0, even considering the fact that it is early access, the problem is that you're going to have players come into the game, have respec cost be 0, and then when the game launches, for one, you're not gonna know what the correct cost for respecking is because you haven't done that testing. You dropped it all the way down to free, and now you have players coming in who are going to expect a perfect game when it comes into full release, because that's just how players are. But because you haven't done the testing, because initially people were freaking out that it was so expensive, and then they wanted to drop down the cost because it's early access, you haven't done that testing. And so what it ultimately leads to is, like, well, you can't drop the cost down to 0 immediately because that's just going to completely like tweak expectations. So what you have to do is kind of dial things back very slowly, because what doesn't feel good is nerfing things to the ground and then have to dial it back up. And while that doesn't really apply here, you know, you just want to kind of dial things back slowly is, I guess, my ultimate point. There's nothing really here that I want. Actually, the beard's fine. Take the max HP. Take more max HP. But I want guns. Where be my weapons? Where be my weapons? I mean, to be fair, like, I don't really need any. I mean, we're holding off enemies quite easily here. So in this next wave, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about kind of what I hope to see When you take damage. Yeah, sure, that's fine for this one. Range, crit chance, that's all fine. Bounces is interesting, but it doesn't really affect anything that we have here. Pick up range, no, nothing really matters here. Nothing matters here, right? Yeah, nothing matters there. Wand. Man, we're having bad luck finding any of our items to kind of double up on. So things that I would like to see, I think it would be cool. Well, first of all, I think we need, I mean, increased difficulty is definitely one that is clearly a plan for the game, right? There's already 5 difficulties in the UI. It's just that right now only 1 difficulty is unlocked and it is the easiest difficulty. In increased difficulty, I think that obviously there's a couple things that we could see. We could either see enemies being more difficult, likely through either more health or dealing more damage, or even increased number of enemies. I think elite enemies is something that I'm looking for. I want some kind of boss system. And I have a feeling that this dev will probably do a pretty decent job with boss design, especially like when you take a look at the spike build, the spike ball build that we did last time. That was really fun. That was kind of different, you know, with having minions and having the minions kick a basically soccer ball of spikes around. It was pretty sweet. So hopefully we can have some bosses with some interesting mechanics to play around with. Yeah, we'll take that. We will also take the. I think we're just gonna take the. We already have a mount. Do I have any reason to go for a mount? I don't think so. We'll just take dex damage. I didn't have anything that has a mount, right? I guess I did have crossbow that I only need 1 more for. All right, that's not a big deal. We have regular bow. Ooh, piercing. What has piercing on it? We have piercing on the shotgun. Is that it? And it's only +1 to piercing. So if something doesn't have piercing... Oh, it is going to give things piercing. Oh! Okay. What was the thing? What was the stat that I was looking at last time with that, though? Is it a secondary? Did I end up taking this though? Okay. Excuse me. Sorry. Let me take a drink of water here for real quick. Okay, so I don't fully remember. In the last episode, I know that there was an upgrade that we could have taken that would give bounces to everything. I don't think I took it though. And if I did, because one of my questions was like, if something does not have bouncing, would it then gain bouncing, or does this only increase the amount of bouncing an item and a weapon has if it has bounce? But the way that I understand it now, just because piercing gave piercing to everything, is that bounce +1 would literally give bouncing to everything. Okay. Oh, there's another crossbow. Okay, so I'm actually going to get rid of this pistol, I think, for this. Although, then I lose -2% cooldown. But how many... I think I only have one other... That's the other precise weapon. So I would go up to 2 precise, which would give +3 crit chance. I think that's fine. Yeah, so definitely elite enemies or bosses of some kind, I'm hoping are planned. Possibly longer rounds too. I think it's roguelite times is an interesting concept to me in terms of like what devs want to do with how long their games take to beat. Because I think there's kind of 2 camps when it comes to roguelites, or kind of actually probably closer to 3 camps. There's the camp of people who just want a quick 15 to 30 minute gameplay experience that they can hop in and out of because they don't really have a lot of time to fully game, which is why they play roguelites. There's the group of people who probably want like a 45-minute to an hour run. It gives you enough time to kind of get a build off the ground, get really powerful, and kind of fully explore your character. And then there's probably the freaks out there that just want, you know, the longest run imaginable. Why did that say? Why is that guy up there? So we unlocked Bigfoot. Damage with kickable attacks. So I'm assuming kickable attacks are all the balls. So right now the runs, they do feel a little short to me. So I'm hoping that added difficulty will maybe extend the runs a little bit in terms of how many rounds there are. But the game is sweet. You know, like I commented before, it is very similar, if not the same as Brotato. So I'm still hoping for a few more gameplay, mechanical changes. One thing, I don't think I really talked about it in the last episode, but the dev kind of reached out to me to point out the fact that there had been an update where there were some updates. I think I mentioned at the beginning of last episode where there were changes to the UI, there were changes to the background, you had those little animations with the characters, and I think that's all kind of well and good, but the initial conversation that I had with them was more so about like, this is very much a Brotato like, and put like there with very heavy emphasis. I still think that there, even if you take just like, if there's one unique mechanic to the game, I think there just needs to be one thing that differentiates it, because like their argument was like some of the weapons are very different, but you know, you could argue like you could just take some of the weapon designs. It's like one of those tough arguments that I have. The problem that I have, like arguing with myself, is that my dad has kind of instilled in me this whole like play devil's advocate to figure out like what you can figure out like what not your opponents, but like who you're debating, what they're thinking. So as I'm describing an argument, I can already tell myself like the opposite side. So for example, what I was just going to say is like, well, you could take these weapon designs and you could put them into Brotato and it wouldn't change at all, but then you could argue any gameplay mechanic in whatever game is new, like whatever Brotato like, you could also put into Brotato and be like, oh look, Brotato did it too. So it's like a non-argument, but basically what I'm saying is like just having a unique weapon like a kickable ball doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, doesn't differentiate yourself enough. So again, I'm just it's kind of like how when we played Dark Chaser Battletide, there was that whole skill tree system that even though the rest of the game was basically identical to Brotato, there was that one thing that changed it enough so you'd be like, oh, okay, this is the identity of this game that differentiates it from this one. I'm still kind of looking for that there from this one, but to be fair, it's been like 2 days since I talked to the dev, and the fact that they, you know, even put out an update to try and address some of those first impression issues of it being too similar to another game, I think is already impressive. That they're clearly working on trying to adjust the first impression. So I'm definitely interested to see what comes out of it. But guys, that's this episode of Noobs Are Coming. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you did enjoy, would you kindly smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more roguelite action. I've been Ganyonz. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.